Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Oxford Town Council meeting for January 22nd, 2025. First off, I'll call this meeting to order. We have in the gallery tonight Ariel Tucker, Colleen Dow, and Madison Bennett. Welcome. First up, we need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Next off, we have a presentation. I'm going to pass the floor over to Linda.
Thank you, Your Worship. So tonight we have a presentation regarding cultivating food security in Cumberland County. So before we get started, I just want to introduce how this came about. So I received an email from Jennifer Hotaling. Did I pronounce that properly? She's a counselor from the county office, and she's been working hard along with others on putting this project together. So there has been lots of community engagement, work on food security in Cumberland County over the past few years. This had been a wonderful collaboration with Nova Scotia Health, Public Health, Maggie's Place, and many community food action groups and individuals who are dedicated to bringing awareness to food security in our area. And I recall that we were part of a food summit that Councillor Black and Councillor McNutt was in attendance for, as well as Councillor Black had been involved in intermunicipal poverty reduction as well. And I think some of that information might have got captured there as well. So tonight we have with us, we have Ariel Tucker. She's the public health nutritionist for Healthy Communities Public Health, and Colleen Dow, the Community Health Board Coordinator with Cumberland County, Nova Scotia Health. So welcome, ladies, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Linda. Hi, folks. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. As Linda mentioned, I'm Ariel Tucker, and I work with Public Health's Healthy Communities team. And co-presenting with me is Colleen Dow, our Community Health Board Coordinator. So last winter, Colleen and I were part of a planning group that organized a number of food security summits across Cumberland County, including one that happened here at Oxford. And we're here tonight to share what we heard during the roundtable discussions about what's happening across the county and also what's needed in regards to moving towards cultivating food security here in Cumberland. I also wanted to mention a few of our other planning group members who are featured on the slide here. So we have Victoria Van Dorp with Maggie's Place, who's joined us at the back tonight, and also County Councillor Jennifer Hotaling. On the next slide, thank you. We wanted to take a few moments to talk about how the food security summits came about and their intended goals. So the summits were an initiative led by the Collaborative Community Food Network Pilot Program at Maggie's Place. And in early 2024, 5 food security summits were held across Cumberland County in Pugwash, Amherst, Cardsborough, Spring Hill, and Oxford. The sessions were designed to bring together community organizations focused on food work and municipalities. So some of the organizations that participated included local food banks, Schools Plus, Meals on Wheels, local farmers, to name a few. Overall, across the 5 summits, we had 75 participants and representing approximately 60 organizations from across the county. Next slide, please. The goals of the Food Security Summit were to bring people together to discuss local food security assets and gaps, to foster ideas for improving community food security, and to create space for participants to network and build connections. Next slide, please. On this slide, we have a definition of food security, which reads, when all people at all times have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. We wanted to share this definition as it highlights several key aspects of food security. It not only emphasizes the need for adequate income and physical access to food, but also the importance of food being nutritious and aligning with an individual's wants and cultural preferences. So as we'll share here tonight, what we heard during the summits within our communities across the county is that our communities are experiencing barriers to these aspects of food security. Next slide, please.
And I'm up. So in Pugwash and in most of the communities, we heard very similar things. So I'm going to sound a little repetitious. So the highlights in Pugwash were the Pugwash Farmers Market, Nourishing Communities Market Bucks and Program, and the, sorry, I can't see with my glasses. I'll have to look down here. The vibrant and extensive volunteer support. So within Pugwash, the Nourishing Communities Market Bucks, I think you might all be aware of those. I know that they have them throughout Cumberland County, so I won't go into them. And the vibrant and extensive volunteer support, although it may have only been mentioned in Pugwash, I know that that's true throughout Cumberland County. Community gaps, independent household incomes to meet basic needs, inadequate household income to meet basic needs, limited access to culturally appropriate food, and lack of funding for food-related positions. So this also is true throughout the county. Inadequate income, we hear all the time, and I know that you hear that all the time. And then the limited access to culturally appropriate food is primarily for our newcomers. So there's things that they're used to eating that they just can't get, but it could even be for people that are coming from across the country. Just things that they aren't used to. Next slide. This is, and actually Victoria brought this for you today. These are our, the diagrams that were made. We had somebody, an artist, actually listening to what everybody was saying and mapping out the entire conversation. So we have a big sheet of paper that's very colorful. So leave with you tonight. For display. Pretty slick, yes. Yeah, I would not be artist. Okay, next slide. And then Amherst, oh, sorry, that's me.
You're more,
Okay,
you're more than
thanks.
welcome to continue.
Once I start, I don't stop. The Amherst Food Security Summit, the collaboration, so the highlights, collaboration among organizations and community members, meaningful and inclusive community space and volunteer opportunities, and youth-focused supports. So Amherst is a little bit different in that a lot of our larger nonprofits are located there. So that's kind of a hub for a lot of the things that happen. And you must know that you're still coming to Amherst for a lot of your meetings just because it's central for that. And that's probably one of the biggest differences. The youth focused supports, we do have the youth center, and soon we're going to have the IYS, the Integrated Youth Services Center, which is awesome and will be good for the entire county. And then community gaps, inadequate household income, which will just be repeated again and again, limited access to culturally appropriate foods, and lack of public and affordable transportation. And that, although it's not repeated in every one of the slides for every community, it was said in every community, and it's true throughout Cumberland County. And then at the bottom, sorry, I wasn't noting this. There's the big brown thing beside the yellow exclamation point is to let us know how many kids are living in poverty. So in Amherst, 510 children are known to be living in poverty. It's another colorful.
You ask questions, you want us to wait till it's over.
I think I'm fine to ask questions.
What do you consider living in poverty?
The definition of this is the food basket measure, and I would let Ariel define that if you want. It's difficult to define. So there's an amount that's set. So they determine how much it's going to cost to feed a family with nutritious food. And that's like at the bare minimum. And then that's where the line is. So to make it more clear, the amount that we use for the poverty line doesn't matter as much as knowing that most people that live under the poverty line live very far under the poverty line. So if you're living on income assistance, you're so far under the poverty line that you couldn't jump to touch it. Okay, like you need now, well, thousands more a year to be able to hit the line.
So how do they get all these numbers?
The
Do
numbers.
they go
through
house to
Stats-
house and ask people? Or?
Stats Canada, they get them all, but we also know, we know how many people are getting government transfers. So government transfers are all of your income assistance, your old age pension, Canada pension, people with disabilities, so disability assistance, and child tax benefit. Those are all government transfers, and we know who's getting those.
I gue-
Plus, there's income tax.
I guess if you was, people were drawing old age pension and Canada pension, they'd be on the poverty list.
Actually, our seniors, are doing better than most others. So because our seniors have old age pension and the child tax benefit are basic income guarantee. So later on, you're gonna hear, what do we suggest? Basic income guarantee. So our children and our seniors get basic income guarantee. Our children in 2018, the child tax benefit was increased. And the rate of child poverty, as bad as it is now, was reduced by, I think, 20%. Like it was a big drop. You can see the graph and it went because the child tax benefit went up so much. So seniors, yes, there's a lot that don't have enough. And there's a lot of people that are making good money that don't have a lot. Life is very expensive. And there's a lot of reasons too, that people that make a lot of money can't afford to do what they're doing. You know what I mean? There's things, bad decisions, and stuff happens. But as far as who's worse off, single people without children on a government transfer would be the poorest of the poor.
Right, if I had to live on Canada pension, old age pension, I would be starving because I couldn't pay my bills.
So what you make is a lot more than what the people make on income assistance. So I don't know if that helps you.
Let's keep working, Brett.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
she says that people are better off today. I don't think so, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Some are,
Oh,
Some
yeah,
are.
yes.
I am not saying that people are better off. I'm saying that some people are better off. And the old age security has been around for a long time. The child tax benefit has been around for a long time. And I don't want you to start guessing how old I am, but when I got it, the years that I got it, which was probably only 1 year of my working life, because it's based on a sliding scale back then. And I made $33 a month. And now I believe it's just over 900. I'm sorry, and there's no one in here that can answer that question.
Well, it's based on your income, right?
It's
so
well, it's taxed, so every child makes the same amount, but then I believe that the tax changes. So before it was sliding scale, but now it's quite different.
when I was a kid, it was $33. I
Yeah.
remember that because one of my friends got it, like her mother gave it to her, and I was really mad because my parents wouldn't give it to me.
Well, I kept it too, I did it.
I got 8 clothes.
$33. Oh, really?
Yeah, and I bought all my own clothes.
For $8.
Well, didn't buy a lot of fancy
What?
Yeah.
$8 for what?
The child tax benefit.
child tax code.
So times have changed.
Yes,
And the amount that we get now is very much different.
Yeah.
Income assistance hasn't changed so much.
No.
So, anyway.
and
So-
carry on.
So, okay, so now if we could move to, we're in Parsboro.
I
Sorry.
might just add before you start that, Colleen, if it's okay. The child poverty stats that we've reported on the slides come from the Canadian Center for Policy Alternatives. They produce a report card every year on child and family poverty, and they report child poverty rates by postal code based on income-based statistics. So that's what allows us to pull it out by community.
Yeah. And Christine Saunier, she is from Nova Scotia. And she is the head of the Canadian Center for Policy Alternatives, Nova Scotia. And she's come up to town like frequently to do talks. She's really, really good. So maybe we could find the time together. I'll come up. So I think yours might be, I'm being partial. Sorry, Ariel, I'm sorry. So Parsboro, so there's an abundance of beautiful land and great potential, some of which is already being utilized. That's for regarding farming. 12 community gardens at the Fundy Geological Museum, and continued volunteer commitment and support, which is very similar. I think Parsboro was the only community that recognized the beauty in the area, but certainly not the only community that should have. Community gaps, lack of public and affordable transportation, barriers with local food distribution and food deserts, inadequate supply and funding for food bank pantries and community suppers. And by food deserts, just like no stores. There's no place to buy food. And I think everything is very. So this Park Roads has 9 kids, but obviously the population is very different than Amherst.
Next slide, please. So in Spring Hill, we heard appreciation for the school lunch program that had been running there, as well as for the Nourishing Communities Market Bucks program that was able to support families in need through the local farmers market. And we also heard excitement around the potential geothermal greenhouse project that's been in discussion there as well. In terms of gaps, much like we heard with the other communities, we heard that households and individuals just don't have enough income to meet their basic needs. We also heard about the lack of public and affordable transportation as a barrier, not only to accessing stores to purchase food, but also as a barrier to transporting yourself to access food support, such as community suppers or the food bank. And we also heard about additional factors that may impact food security, such as substance use and mental health. And on the next slide, we have the graphic recording from Spring Hill, which highlights those highlights and gaps.
So in Oxford, which is here, I think it's better if once it's off. Actually, I think I need you to read this because I can't read it with or without my glasses.
Sure. I can comment on it. And then if you want to
Thank you.
add additions. So in terms of highlights here in Oxford, we heard about the paid municipal staff position that had just been granted, I believe, for the horticulturalist position. And there was a lot of excitement around that. We also heard about the community gardens potentially getting started up again. And in terms of gaps, we heard this not only in Oxford, but especially in Oxford around the challenges in communicating resources and events to community members and just getting the information out to community members. Inadequate income came up in the Oxford conversation as well as the barriers around transportation. I'll also mention the child poverty stats that we reported when we created our report and this presentation. There has since been a new report card released with updated stats, and our communities did increase in number in terms of the child poverty rate. So I believe Oxford's number is now reported as 120, I believe is the number. Yes, 120. Is there anything you wanted to add?
I don't think I will add, and I'm not sure that I think it will happen this summer, that there was a wellness grant through the community health boards that we're very excited about, and it will link to this kind of work. So it was around working with the horticulturalists and the community garden and local farmer, trying to build capacity so that people could learn how to farm, and maybe grow carrots and be
And for
more
accessibility,
self-sustaining.
there were going to be accessible gardens too.
Yeah, it's all exciting.
On this slide, we have the graphic recording from the Oxford Food Summit. So the artist wasn't able to be present here in Oxford when we held the summit, but we were able to provide her with all our notes. And from that, she created this graphic. And that's the physical graphic we have here with us tonight. And we're more than happy to leave it here for the community. Some other communities have been displaying theirs in different community spaces like the library or the schools, just to help share back what was heard, but also to help continue the conversation as well.
That was 30 children, right? That's less than a year, right?
That's not
Yeah. Because it was in January, right, last year? So that would be less than a year.
Is that because of an increase in population or?
I wonder, we don't know.
Oh, okay.
We can't know,
Yeah,
but I do wonder if, because it is quite a large jump,
it is.
and we do see a lot of newcomers in the Oxford
Yeah.
area.
Seemed like a lot of that.
Yeah.
So overall, across the 5 summits, as you may have recognized, there were definitely common themes in terms of gaps. And these 4 gaps that are listed here were the ones that seem to be coming up the most across the entire county. So inadequate household income, and along with that, the need to address the rising cost of living, lack of public and affordable transportation, and limited access to culturally appropriate foods. And if we move on to the next slide, this is the last slide of our presentation. So at the summits, we also asked participants what they felt would make an impact based on the gaps that they identified in regards to food security. And these what's thought to potentially make an impact, we've framed on this slide as potential actions. So we heard a need for advocacy around guaranteed basic income, as Colleen mentioned earlier, and also a need for increased investment in public and social programs, such as non-market housing, to help reduce the cost of living. We also heard the want for partners across Cumberland County to work together on exploring transportation options to improve accessibility and access throughout our communities. We heard about the importance of social connection opportunities like community suppers, which are already happening in many of our communities, and that events like community suppers provide a great opportunity to celebrate and embrace the diversity within our communities. We also heard about the want for food-related activities like community gardening to be added into summer student recreation programs, as well as the need for continued advocacy to support paid positions focused on food security initiatives. And that brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for your time and allowing us to be here to share what we heard at these events.
Well, thank you. Does anyone have any more questions for our presenters? Well, I'd like to thank you on behalf of council. This has certainly been eye-opening. And hopefully those watching at home learn something as well. So I want to thank you for your time and your effort in this project.
Thank you for letting us come.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I believe there's little treats on your desk from there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's where those came from. I was wondering.
They brought little,
Yeah.
yeah.
And thank you for the poster. So we have to move along.
We do. Yeah. You're
Okay.
welcome to stay, or you, what's up to you with the beat. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, moving on. You've all had copy of the minutes. Any errors or omissions? Hearing none, I declare them approved as submitted. On item 5, write-off report, I'm going to pass the floor over to Linda.
Okay, thank you. So just to explain why we're doing this report tonight. So as per our tax and water collection policy, we are required to do a list of account write-offs to present to council on an annual basis. So that's a report that we need to do. And as per the MGA, it's the duty of the treasurer to advise council, promptly advise council of all monies due to the municipality that the treasurer considers that cannot be reasonably collected after pursuing all reasonable avenues of collection. And the reasons for the belief that such monies cannot be collected, and the council may write off the amounts determined to be uncollectible. So that's what we're here. So annually, this is something that we're required to do. So it's in our calendar to do at the January meetings. And that's why we have Ruth Ann here tonight to present the report. Please.
I'm glad to say I don't have much to report. We do not require any write-offs for our tax or other revenues. There were 2 water accounts that had been shut off and not in use that were sent to collections because we were unable to collect them. One did get resolved through the collection agency, and the other actually got resolved internally. So really do not need any write-offs.
Good.
A healthy food report.
Okay, that's everything for that. We'll move right along to number 5.2, amend fees policy. Linda.
Okay, thank you. So in December 11th, we had a council meeting and I had presented to council our fees policy. And we did the change in regards to the water CAD, and it was regarding charging $100 fee for anyone new connecting to water. That would be part of the development process. It'll be a permit that they apply for, and then the fee would be made payable to the town of Oxford. We would collect those fees, and then that would then be applied towards our water CAD study we would update at the end of the year. So we had approved that in December 11th, but there was some language that we had to work on in regards to anyone that's more than a single home. So there's one clause that we added to the fees policy, and this will help with the a larger unit that would also need to do a test on fire flow to make sure in all our fire protected areas, which have been identified, that they conduct a fire flow test. So this would be part of their process as well. Plus they'd be paying a little bit more as well. So development with 2 or more units is subject to an additional fee of 12 cents per square foot. Okay, which is comparable with town of Amherst and the county. So everything's the same. Plus, with the fees policy, there's also an application that the county will use, and it stipulates, it shows the development charge, WaterCAD study, $100 per unit, but then we added an asterisk to it. So this is the change, the asterisk. And it's under notes, and the asterisk says 2 or more units are subject to additional fees as per the fee policy. So those are the 2 changes we're looking to make. So the one change in regard to the fees policy, and then we're also look for approval to amend our development permit as well.
You need a motion to that.
We do.
Someone like to make that motion?
I move that we accept the changes to the 2 policies,
One's a policy and the other's an application.
to the policy and to the application.
We have a seconder.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion was made by Councillor McNutt, please say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Next up, amend boards and committees, 5.3, presented by Linda.
Okay, so in the council package, there had been some changes. I got an updated list from the Arena Association. So there's some new names there. So we wanted to recognize those. Also, in regards to the Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Advisory Committee, we had an excellent turnout at our last meeting. So those names have been added to our boards and committees report as well. And also just to note, put a plug out there to the public. We're still looking for volunteers, audit committee. I believe the recreation is still looking as well. And if you're looking to volunteer, give us a call at the town office.
If you want to help, we can put you in a committee of some sort.
There be a committee here for you. So anyways, I'm looking for approval from council to approve this boards and committees as presented in the council package.
Question, Linda?
Absolutely.
Did you say there's some extra people on the arena committee? Is that what you said?
There is an Arena Association Committee, so some new volunteers. So they had done an update. Jordan, the chair, the president of the committee, had sent forward to me updated names, so we updated that. So this helps with the insurance as
You got
well.
those names?
I do. You ready?
Yeah.
I have Jordan Burkhardt, he's the president, Graham Wood, vice president, Paula Rogers, treasurer, Patrick Rushton.
I guess excuse me, Linda, I just meant the new people that's coming on.
Oh, Murray's there too, Mitchell Hannigan, Darlene Ellis, Ty Ingram, Keith Baker. Those are the names.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's been a few removed.
Yeah.
too. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept those recommendations?
So moved.
Seconder,
I'll second it.
moved by Councillor Colburn, seconded by Deputy Mayor Black. All those any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Next up, security camera installed at Black River parking lot. I'll hand it to you.
Yes, thank you. So back in December, we received a customer complaint form regarding from a business owner and concern about how valuable parking spaces are in our downtown area. So I know at one time, it's been a few years, this council here had considered that as well, and we encourage the business owners as well as staff of the businesses to park in appointed parking lots that the town has within. So after what we did is we drafted a quick letter just bringing to the attention of the business owners regarding about the valuable space and to just see if they would give consideration to use the parking spaces that we have down at the Black River Park, which is down by the skateboard park food bank, and then the other one over here by the gazebo, to utilize those spaces first before moving on our downtown. And so we did get a comment from one and a very good point. So they had a meeting regarding that letter that we had sent out in December, and their staff had expressed concerns regarding damage to their vehicles if they park in the Black River parking lot. It was suggested by them if the town had put up cameras to monitor the parking lot, they would feel more comfortable parking over there. So recently, I'd say probably in the last 6 months, we had put in a security system here. And so we have extra space, I think, so there's an extra camera in there. But anyways, so we wanted to present this idea to council tonight. We did get a quote for what a camera could look like. We're looking at about, with taxes in, about $2,600. So this would give it so that the town it would record what's going on and protect a little more protection to that parking lot area. So there's 3 options that we can do. We could either vote on it tonight, or we could defer to the next council meeting due to there's 3 members not present tonight. So we can have a more full debate, or we could defer to budget discussions and discuss at a later date as well. So there's 3 options to give us direction which way you'd like to see. You can vote on it and say no tonight too, whatever. It's all up to council here.
Personally,
do
I
have
think
quorum.
we should go to budget discussion.
Mhm.
And another thing, if we're gonna have a camera down there, we gotta have one that you can see stuff. A lot of them cameras, you can't tell anything.
It does say full
They're so
color night
blurry and-
vision.
Yeah,
Pardon me?
it
It
is.
does say full color night vision.
Well, it's not a cheap camera either.
It's what we have here. That's doing 3 locations.
Are they nice and plain?
Yeah.
Are they?
I would say they're fair.
So can I move that we discuss this at a later date with a full council and
Budget?
near budget time?
Getting close.
We are, it's close to
Yeah.
budget time.
Okay, so we don't need a motion.
We don't need to.
We're just
Okay.
waiting.
We're gonna
Consensus is
consensus.
defer it?
Yep.
Okay,
Consensus said to defer.
okay.
That puts the idea out there is what
yeah.
we really wanted to get it.
Yeah.
It's just an issue.
Okay, next up is 5.5, water and sewer connection request. We understand that's been deferred for a later meeting.
For more information.
Yes. 5.6, amend snow and ice management. We're deferring that. We need some more clarification. Correspondence,
Okay.
that's 6.1.
Thank you. So we had some correspondence. There's a letter from the Office of the Minister for Emergency Management that came through. It is presented in the council package for anyone to look. So this letter came through on January 17th and is regarding moving towards consistent and impactful emergency response. So over the last few years, Nova Scotia had endured generational hurricanes, wildfires, and floods that have had a devastating impact on our communities and the residents we serve. So that's why in spring of 2024, the government established the Department of Emergency Management and the Nova Scotia Guard. So in that time, the new minister for the Department of Emergency Management, there have been 2 activations of the Provincial Coordination Center, which we'll call the PCC. Okay, so that's Provincial Coordination Center. So they have witnessed how important the emergency management planning and response is to the safety of the citizens. So, and they also know reflecting on lessons learned after each event. So every time there's a big event, there's a follow-up meeting after and to talk about how we can handle better for next time. So the office is requesting that municipalities put the following protocols in place during an emergency response. So at the level 1, the PCC, so this is a province, is monitoring an emergency or developing situation that may move beyond the ability of local responders to address at the municipal level. At the level 2, the provincial coordination is at a partial activation, where there's a more moderate event expected, or if a current situation escalates to the point where it involves more communities or greater risk. And then there's the level 3, which is a full activation when a major event involving multiple locations is happening. So to ensure a consistent response across the province, they are requesting the following. When the PCC activates to a level 2, so that's a partial activation, municipalities in the affected areas are also activate their local emergency operations centers. So what that means, we have an intermunicipal agreement with the county and Amherst. So we have a coordinator, Stephen Wood is his name, and he's an employee of the county office. And we have an agreement between the other two municipalities. So he would open up a center and we are at his fingertips to be ready if we need to open up, say, a comfort center or, you know, get notices out to our residents regarding emergency and things like that. So there's going to be some meetings coming up about this here soon. And I understand Councillor Colburn is on the REMO, Regional Emergency, and actually you need to be part of that as well.
Sure.
But there'll be some more coming down regarding that. So this is an email. It is in our council package for anyone to refer to. And also when they do activate the center, there's going to be a monitored phone number that's available to citizens for the duration of the activation. So that will be covered as well. So,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody have any questions for Linda regarding that? No. Okay, we'll move along to 5.6, amend snow and ice management policy. I see defer, more information required on that.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. We've done the correspondence and we were going to go in camera for something, but apparently we don't have enough information.
There's 3 out.
Yeah,
and we
with
want to
3
get
out,
everybody up
we
to
need
date,
full
so.
council. So unless somebody has something else they want to bring to the table, nobody, I move this meeting be adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.